Welcome to Boring History for Sleep. Tonight, we invite you to leave the modern world behind and step into the ancient plains of the Indus Valley, a land of sun-scorched cities and forgotten lives, some 4,000 years ago. Close your eyes, if you wish, and let your mind drift to a time when civilizations rose from riverbank, their rhythms dictated by labor, trade, and the mysteries of an unwritten past. This is not a tale of kings or conquests alone, but of the ordinary people who shaped a world we scarcely understand today. Imagine yourself in the heart of the Indus Valley civilization, where the air is thick with the scent of baked clay and the hum of human effort. Our journey will carry you through the daily struggles of a laborer, the ambitions of a shadowy leader, and the secrets buried in ancient seals and streets. Each story is a thread in the tapestry of a society both advanced and enigmatic, designed to guide you gently toward rest. Settle in, let your thoughts soften, and allow the steady cadence of history to carry you along. We begin with the life of an Indus Valley laborer, a life of toil under an unforgiving sun, where every day was a test of endurance. Picture yourself waking before dawn in the sprawling city of Harappa. Around 2600 BCE, the air is cool, but already heavy with the promise of heat. You are a laborer, one of countless souls whose hands shape the bricks that build this civilization. Your home is a small mud-plastered hut, its walls rough against your back as you rise from a reed mat. The scent of damp earth and yesterday's cooking fire lingers, mingling with the faint temps of dust that never seems to settle. Your day begins with a simple meal, a handful of barley, perhaps a few lentils, boiled into a thin porridge. It's filling, but monotonous, the same fare you've eaten for weeks. Water drawn from a nearby well is cool but carries the faint grit of the river. You pull on a plain cotton loincloth, your only garment, and step into the narrow streets, already stirring with the footsteps of others like you. The city hums with purpose, but for you, it's a world of endless labor. Your task today, as it is most days, is to make bricks. The Indus cities Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, and others are marvels of uniformity, their streets and walls built from standardized sun-baked bricks. But creating them is grueling. You trudge to the riverbank, where the Indus deposits its silty clay. The ground is soft underfoot, squelching as you kneel to scoop the heavy, wet earth into wooden molds. Your hands ache as you press the clay, smoothing it with calloused fingers. The sun climbs higher, and the air grows thick, your sweat mixing with the dust on your skin. The rhythm of your work is unrelenting. You carry the filled molds to a drying yard, stacking them under the sun's fierce gaze. By midday, the heat is oppressive, shimmering off the ground, and your throat is parched. You sip from a clay cup, but water is rash to much time spent. Fetching it means falling behind. The overseer, a stern figure with a tally stick, watches closely. Every brick must be perfect, or it's discarded, your effort wasted. The weight of this expectation presses on you, as constant as the sun. Life as a laborer is not just physical toil, it's a cycle of obligations. The bricks you make are not yours to keep. They belong to the city, to the unseen rulers who demand taxes in labor or grain. Your harvest, if you have a small plot, is barely enough to feed your family after the granary takes its share. The city's wealth, its broad streets, its wells, its towering walls rests on your shoulders, yet you'll never know its comforts. Your home lacks the drainage systems of the elite. When the monsoon comes, your floor turns to mud. Disease is a quiet threat. The crowded streets, though cleaner than many ancient cities, breed fevers in the wet season. A cut from a broken tool could fester, and healers are scarce for someone of your station. You see neighbors weaken, their bodies claimed by ailments no one can name. Yet you press on, because stopping means starvation. The rhythm of your life is survival, each day blurring into the next. But there are moments of reprieve. At dusk, when the air cools, you gather with others by the river. The water reflects the fading light, and someone shares a story, a tale of gods or traders from distant lands. You chew a betel nut, it's sharp, taste a small luxury, and for a moment, the weight lifts. These fleeting pauses are what sustain you, reminders that even in toil, there is connection, a shared thread binding you to this ancient city. Yet as night falls, you return to your hut, your body heavy with exhaustion. The stars wheel above, indifferent to your struggles. Tomorrow, the clay, the molds, and the sun will demand your strength again. This is the life of an Indus Valley laborer, a constant struggle, etched into the very bricks that built a civilization. As we leave the dusty riverbanks of Harappa, let us turn to a figure who may have walked its streets, a man known only through a single, striking image. He is called the Priest King, a symbol of the Indus Valley's elusive leadership, whose story whispers of ambition and mystery. As the sun sets over Harappa's mud-brick walls, casting long shadows across its orderly streets, we turn from the laborer's toil to a figure who may have stood at the heart of this ancient world. He is known to us only as the Priest King, a name given by modern scholars to a small steatite statue unearthed in Mohenjo-daro some 4,000 years after his time. The figure is serene, bearded, with a headband and a cloak adorned with trefoil patterns, his eyes half closed as if in contemplation. Was he a ruler, a priest, or something else entirely? His story, pieced together from fragments of archaeology, is one of ambition, mystery, and the delicate balance of power in a civilization that left no written records. Let us imagine his life, stepping softly into the rhythms of his world. Picture yourself in Mohenjo-daro, the largest of the Indus Valley cities. Its broad avenues lined with two-story homes and shaded courtyards. The air carries the scent of sandalwood and sesame oil, mingling with the dust of baked clay. You are the Priest King, or perhaps a man like him rising at dawn in a spacious house, its walls smoothed with lime plaster, its flat roof offering a view of the city's great bath and towering granary. Your bed is a low wooden frame, cushioned with woven cotton, a luxury few can afford. A servant brings you a breakfast of flatbread, dates, and goat's milk, served on a polished clay plate. The meal is simple but rich, a reminder of your status in a society where grain is power. Your day is not one of physical toil, but of careful navigation. The Indus cities thrive on order, and you, whether king, priest, or merchant prince, are a guardian of that order. You don a robe of fine cotton, its edges embroidered with geometric patterns, and a headband of woven fibers, perhaps studded with a bead of carnelian. Your cloak, light but ornate, brushes the floor as you step into a courtyard where advisors await. They are men of influence, traders, scribes, perhaps ritual leaders, each carrying clay seals stamped with animals and symbols. These seals, you know, are the lifeblood of trade, marking goods bound for distant lands like Mesopotamia. You listen as they report. A caravan has returned with lapis lazuli, but the monsoon delayed shipments of cotton. Your decisions how much to store, how much to trade will shape the city's prosperity. But your role is more than administrative. The Indus people revere balance, a harmony between city, river, and cosmos. You walk to the great bath, a vast, rectangular pool sunk into the earth, its brick walls sealed with bitumen to hold water. The air is cool here, the water's surface rippling under the morning light. You descend the steps, your bare feet touching the smooth stone, and perform a ritual cleansing, sprinkling water over your head as a crowd watches in silence. The act is both spiritual and political, a signal that you mediate between the people and the unseen forces, gods perhaps, or the river itself that sustain the city. The crowd murmurs, their voices a low hum, and you feel the weight of their trust, as heavy as the clay seals in your pouch. Your days are filled with such duties. You oversee the granary, a massive structure where barley and wheat are stored, its high platforms protecting against floods. You inspect the grain, running your fingers through the coarse kernels, ensuring no mold has crept in. You meet with craftsmen, examining their beads and pottery, approving designs that will travel to foreign market. At times, you mediate disputes. A farmer claims his land was unfairly taxed. A trader accuses another of short-changing him. Your word is final, but you tread carefully, for the city's harmony depends on fairness, or at least its appearance. Yet power is precarious. The Indus Valley, for all its order, is not immune to tension. Other cities, Harappa, Dolavira, have their own leaders, and alliances shift like the river's course. You hear whispers of unrest, laborers grumbling over taxes, merchants hoarding goods. You strengthen the city's walls, not against invaders. There are few signs of war, but against the chaos of scarcity. The river, your lifeline, is unpredictable. A weak monsoon could starve the fields, a flood could drown them. You offer gifts at a small shrine, a terracotta figurine of a mother goddess, her eyes painted wide, praying for balance. The scent of burning herbs fills the air, and you hope it's enough. Your evenings are quieter, spent in a rooftop garden where tamarind trees cast dappled shade. You dine on roasted fish, spiced with cumin, and sip a fermented drink that warms your chest. A musician plays a reed flute, its notes drifting over the city's hum. Your family, perhaps a wife, children, or siblings, joins you, their presence a reminder of the lineage you must preserve. You tell them stories of distant lands, of traders who speak strange tongues, of seas you'll never see. But even here, your mind turns to the city's needs, the delicate threads of trade and ritual that hold it together. The priest-king's life, if indeed he was a king, was one of subtle ambition. He sought not conquest, but stability, a legacy of order in a world where rivers and rains could unravel everything. His statue, so small it fits in your hand, captures a man poised between authority and humility, his gaze fixed on something beyond the horizon. We know little of his fate. Did he grow old, surrounded by advisors, or did drought or rivals topple him? The Indus Valley left no chronicles, only clues in clay and stone. Yet his image endures, a silent witness to a civilization that thrived on the labor of many and the vision of a few. From the priest-king's elevated world, we descend again into the streets of Mohenjo-daro, where another mystery beckons. Scattered across the city are small, square seals, carved with strange symbols no one can read. These are the fragments of the Indus script, a puzzle that has baffled scholars for centuries, whispering secrets we may never unlock. As the golden light of dusk settles over imagine yourself wandering its bustling streets, where the air is thick with the scents of roasted sesame and sun-warmed brick. The city hums with life traders haggling, children chasing clay balls, and artisans shaping pots under shaded awnings. But amidst this orderly world lies a puzzle that has eluded us for millennia. The Indus script, a collection of symbols carved on small, square seals of steatite, scattered like whispers across the ruins of this civilization. These seals, no larger than your palm, hold secrets we cannot read, a language lost to time. Let us step closer, tracing their creation and the mystery that surrounds them as we drift through the rhythms of an ancient city. Picture yourself in a narrow workshop, tucked between two-story homes, where a sealmaker sits cross-legged on a woven mat. The air is heavy with the dusty temps of ground stone, and a small oil lamp casts flickering shadows across the walls. The craftsman, his fingers steady despite years of work, holds a square of steatite, its surface smooth and cool. With a bronze tool, he carves a unicorn, its single horn proud and precise, or perhaps a humped bull, its curves flowing like the river itself. Above the animal, he etches a line of symbols, short strokes, loops, and grids, each one deliberate, their meaning known only to a few. The lamp's smoke curls upward, and the soft scrape of metal on stone is a rhythm as constant as your breath. These seals were everywhere in the Indus Valley, found in Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, and smaller towns like Lo. They were pressed into wet clay to mark good sacks of barley, bales of cotton, jars of oil, ensuring their origin or ownership as they traveled to distant markets, perhaps as far as Mesopotamia. Imagine holding one, its edges worn from countless hands, its surface faintly warm from the sun. The unicorn gazes back, its eye a single dot, while the symbols above it seem to dance, teasing you with their silence. Were they a script, like Egyptian hieroglyphs, a tally of goods, or sacred signs, invoking gods or spirits? Scholars have debated for over a century, but the Indus script remains one of history's great riddles, its meaning locked in clay. Let us linger in the marketplace, where these seals were used. The agora is alive with sound, the low barter of voices, the clink of copper weights, the rustle of palm fronds overhead. You stand by a merchant's stall, its wooden table laden with beads, cloth, and pottery. He hands you a clay tablet, still soft, bearing the impression of his Sela buffalo and 5 cryptic signs. You nod, accepting the goods, knowing the seal guarantees their quality. Around you, others do the same, their seals marking everything from grain to jewelry. The system is precise, a testament to the Indus people's love of order, yet it hides a deeper mystery. Who decided what these symbols meant, and how were they taught? The creation of a seal was no simple task. Return to the workshop, where the sealmaker's tools are spread before him, chisels, drills, and a small furnace for hardening the stone. After carving, he polishes the seal with sand, its surface gleaming like river pebbles. Some seals are glazed, fired in a kiln until they shine white or blue, a process that fills the air with the sharp scent of burning clay. The symbols, often no more than 6 or 7 per seal, vary widely. Over 400 distinct signs have been found, far too many for an alphabet, yet too few for a full writing system. You watch as the craftsman carves a sign resembling a fish, then another like a comb. Each stroke is deliberate, but their purpose eludes you, as it does us. The mystery deepens when we consider the people behind the script. Who were the scribes, if indeed there were scribes? In other ancient societies, writing was the domain of elites, priests, kings, or bureaucrats. But the Indus Valley left no palaces or temples grand enough to suggest a rigid hierarchy. Perhaps the script was known to many, a shared tool of trade and ritual. Imagine a school, if such a thing existed, where young apprentices gathered in a courtyard, scratching symbols into clay with reed styluses. A teacher, her voice low and patient, points to a seal, explaining its signs. The children repeat them, their fingers smudged with clay, learning a code that bound their cities together. Or perhaps the knowledge was secret, guarded by a few, passed down in hushed tones under starlit skies. Archaeologists have found seals in every corner of the Indus world, from urban centers to remote villages. Some were buried in hoards, as if hidden from calamity. Others were tossed into rubbish heaps, their purpose spent. A few bear signs that repeat, like a signature, but none form sentences we can pass. You might stand in the ruins of Delavia, a desert city, holding a massive stone slab inscribed with 10 large symbols, each as tall as your hand. Was it a signpost, a proclamation, or a prayer? The stone is silent, its message as distant as the rivers that once fed these lands. The indescript silence is not just a puzzle, but a reflection of the civilization itself, advanced, orderly, yet elusive. Unlike Egypt or Mesopotamia, the Indus people left no epic poems, no king lists, no chronicles of their deeds. Their cities were planned with precision, their weights and measures standardized, yet their thoughts remain veiled. Some scholars believe the script recorded a Dravidian language, still spoken in southern India. Others argue it was not a language at all, but a system of symbols for clans or gods. Imagine the frustration of a trader, far from home, clutching a seal whose signs he could not explain to foreigners, or the reverence of a priestess, tracing a seal's symbols as she offered it to a deity, believing it held sacred power. The mystery persists because the Indus Valley faded slowly, its cities abandoned by 1900 BCE, their rivers drying or shifting. The script vanished with them, buried under centuries of dust. Modern attempts to decode it in computers, comparing it to other scripts, have yielded only theories, no certainties. You might sit by the great bath at twilight, the water still, and wonder, what stories did these symbols tell? Were they lists of goods, names of families, or hymns to the river? The seals, scattered across museums, are all that remain, their animals and signs gazing out, inviting us to guess. As you drift through this ancient city, let the mystery of the Indus script settle over you like dust. It is a reminder that even the most ordered societies can fade, leaving only fragments for us to ponder. The seals, small and unassuming, were the heartbeat of a civilization, yet their meaning slips through our fingers, as elusive as a dream. From the cryptic seals of Mohenjo-daro, we turn to another facet of Indus life, one of comfort and influence. Let us step into the world of a merchant, a man whose wealth and connections wove the cities of the Indus Valley into a web of trade and prosperity, offering a stark contrast to the laborer's toil. As the morning sun climbs over the orderly streets of Harappa, casting a golden glow on its mud brick walls, we leave the enigmatic seals of the Indus script behind and step into a world of wealth and influence. Imagine yourself as a merchant in this ancient city around 2600 BC, a man whose life is woven into the intricate web of trade that binds the Indus Valley to distant lands. Your days are not marked by the back-breaking toil of the laborer, but by the delicate dance of negotiation, the weight of responsibility, and the quiet comforts of prosperity. Let us wander through your home, your market, and your journeys, tracing the rhythms of a life that shaped the pulse of this civilization. Picture yourself rising in a 2-story house, its thick walls keeping the morning cool. The air inside carries the faint scent of cedarwood, used to line the chests where you store your goods. Your bed is a low wooden frame, padded with layers of woven cotton, a luxury that sets you apart from the reed mats of the poor. You stretch, your joints stiff from yesterday's long hours, and step onto a floor of polished clay, smooth under your feet. A servant, perhaps, a young man from a nearby village brings you breakfast on a tray. Warm flatbreads, a bowl of lentils spiced with cumin, and a handful of sweet dates. There's sticky richness, a daily indulgence. You sip water from a finely crafted cup, its surface painted with swirling black lines, and feel the weight of the day ahead. Your clothing reflects your status. You drape yourself in a long cotton robe, its fibers so fine they shimmer in the light, dyed a deep indigo traded from distant fields. Around your neck hangs a necklace of carnelian beads, each one polished to a warm, fiery glow, a symbol of your success. You step into a courtyard where a small fountain trickles, its sound a soothing counterpoint to the city's growing hum. Here, you meet your apprentices, young men eager to learn the art of trade. They carry clay tablets, some bearing the impressions of Yorsi la proud rhinoceros with a line of cryptic symbols. You review their records, nodding at the tallies of grain and cloth, correcting a mistake with a patient word. Your wealth depends on precision, and you teach them to weigh every decision as carefully as the copper weights on your scales. Your morning is spent in the agora, the heart of Harappa's trade. The marketplace is a maze of stalls, shaded by palm fronds and awnings of woven reed. The air is alive with scents, roasted chickpeas, pungent fish paste, and the earthy aroma of stacked pottery. Voices rise and fall, a steady cadence of offers and counter-offers, as traders from across the Indus Valley barter their wares. You move through the crowd, your robe brushing the ground, and pause at a stall piled with bales of cotton, their fibers soft as a sigh. You run your fingers over the cloth, testing its weight, and haggle with the seller, a woman with sharp eyes and a quick tongue. She demands beads in exchange, and you offer a string of agate, their cool surfaces glinting in the sun. The deal is struck, and your apprentice marks it on a tablet, the seal's impression binding the agreement. But trade is not confined to the city. As a merchant, you are a link in a vast network stretching beyond the Indus, two lands you know only through stories. You oversee caravans that depart from Mesopotamia, their donkeys laden with cotton, timber, and jars of sesame oil. You inspect the goods before they leave, ensuring each bundle is sealed with your mark, its clay tag pressed with your rhinoceros. The journey is perilous. Storms, bandits, and swollen rivers threaten every trip, but the rewards are great. From the west come lapis lazuli, its deep blue prized for jewelry, and tin, essential for bronze. You've held these treasures, marveling at their foreign weight, and traded them for profit in Harappa's markets. Once, a trader from Dilmun, a far-off island, offered you a shell carved with strange patterns, and you keep it in your home, a reminder of the world beyond the river. Your wealth brings comforts, but also burdens. The city's rulers, perhaps the priest-king or his king, expect tribute, a share of your goods for the granary or the great bather's upkeep. You deliver sacks of barley, their weight a silent tax, and smile as you bow, knowing resentment could cost you favor. At home, you maintain a household, a wife whose skill at weaving adds to your stock, children who play with clay toys in the courtyard, and servants whose labor frees you to trade. You teach your eldest son to read the seals, pointing to the symbols as he mimics their shapes, his small hands smudged with clay. Your family's future rests on your success, and the thought lingers as you lie awake at night, the city's distant sounds filtering through your roof. There are moments of ease, fleeting but cherished. In the evening, you climb to your roof, where a breeze carries the scent of tamarind blossoms. You sit on a woven mat, sharing a meal of roasted fish and millet, the fish's delicate flavor heightened by herbs from your garden. A musician, hired for the occasion, plays a lute, its notes soft and winding, blending with the chatter of your guests' other merchants, their robes as fine as yours. You discuss trade routes, the price of copper, and rumors of a new city rising in the desert. Laughter rises, gentle and unhurried, and for a moment, the weight of your responsibilities fades. Yet even in prosperity, uncertainty looms. The Indus River, your lifeline, is fickle. A poor monsoon could shrink the harvest, driving up grain prices and straining your deals. Rival merchants, jealous of your success, might undercut your prices or spread whispers of dishonest scales. You've seen traders fall, their homes sold, their families reduced to labor. To guard against this, You offer gifts at a small shrine in your courtyard, a terracotta figurine of a mother goddess, her arms outstretched. You burn a pinch of incense, its smoke curling upward, and pray for abundance, for the river to flow, for your name to endure. The life of an Indus merchant was one of balance between wealth and obligation, risk and reward, city and cosmos. You moved through Harappa's streets with confidence, your seals and scales your tools of power, yet you knew your fortunes rested on forces beyond your control. Your home, with its cool walls and tinkling fountain, was a haven in a world of constant negotiation. As you drift through this ancient city, imagine the merchant's life as a thread in the Indus Valley's tapestry, weaving connections that stretched far beyond its riverbanks, yet always tied to the steady rhythm of trade. From the merchant's world of wealth and trade, we turn to a craft that defined the Indus Valley's artistry. Let us step into the workshop of a bead where tiny stones were transformed into treasures that traveled the ancient world, a testament to skill and patience in a civilization of precision. As the morning light filters through the streets of Mahé, painting the mud brick walls in shades of gold, we step away from the merchant's bustling world of trade and into a quieter, more delicate realm. Imagine yourself in a small workshop, tucked in a corner of this ancient city, around 2600 BCE, one of the skilled artisans whose creations adorned the necks of merchants and traveled to distant lands. The craft of bead-making in the Indus Valley is a testament to patience and precision, transforming raw stones into treasures that gleam like captured fire. Let us linger here, tracing the rhythm of your work, the tools in your hands, and the legacy of a craft that linked this civilization to the world beyond its rivers. Picture yourself seated on a woven mat, the ground beneath you smoothed by years of use. The air is warm, carrying the earthy scent of clay dust and the faint, acrid temps of a nearby kiln. Before you lies a low wooden table, its surface scarred from countless hours of work. On it are your tools, bronze drills, chisels, and polishing stones, each one worn to fit your hand. A small clay lamp, its wick flickering, casts a soft glow, illuminating a pile of raw carnelian, the stones deep orange red, catching the light like embers. Beside it are agate, jasper, and tiny lumps of faience, a glazed paste that mimics precious turquoise. The materials are simple, but in your hands they will become something extraordinary. Your day begins with selecting a stone. You pick up a piece of carnelian, its surface rough but warm, and turn it slowly, studying its flaws. The stone was quarried far from Mohenjo-daro, perhaps in Gujarat, carried here by traders whose caravans braved deserts and rivers. You imagine the hands that mined it, the donkeys that bore it, the merchants who bartered for it in Harappa's agora. Now it is yours to shape. You start by chipping away rough edges with a flint tool, the soft tap-tap of stone on stone blending with the distant murmur of the city. Flakes fall to the mat, and the stone begins to take form. A small, oblong bead, no larger than a grape. The real challenge is drilling. You clamp the bead in a wooden vise, its grip firm but gentle, and reach for its string taut and its tip made of hardened bronze. You draw the bow back and forth, the drill humming as it bites into the stone. The work is slow, almost meditative, requiring a steady hand to keep the hole straight. Dust rises, tickling your nose, and you pause to wipe sweat from your brow, the air growing heavier as the sun climbs. The hole must be perfect, thin enough for a cotton thread, strong enough not to crack. A single mistake could ruin hours of work, and you've seen beads shatter, their promise lost in a moment's lapse. Once drilled, the bead is polished. You rub it with a piece of sandstone, then a finer grit, until it gleams like polished glass. The carnelian's color deepens, its fiery heart revealed. Some beads are etched with Padensteiny lines or chevrons using a flint stylus, each mark a flourish of your skill. Others are left plain, their beauty in their simplicity. You hold the finished bead to the light, its surface catching the flame's glow, and feel a quiet pride. This bead, one of dozens you'll make this week, might grace a merchant's necklace, adorn a priestess's ritual robe, or travel to Mesopotamia, where it will be traded for tin or gold. The craft is not yours alone. In the workshop, others work beside you: an apprentice, barely a teenager, who sweeps stone flakes and fetches water; an older woman, her fingers nimble despite age, who specializes in faience, mold and paste into beads that shimmer like the sea. You share a meal at midday, sitting in a courtyard under a tamarind tree. The food is simple barley flatbreads, a paste of chickpeas, a few dried figs, but the shade is a mercy, and the conversation is light. The apprentice boasts of his first drilled bead, lopsided but promising, and you nod, remembering your own early days. The woman speaks of a new technique, heating fans to a brighter blue, and you listen, always eager to refine your craft. Bead making was more than a trade in the Indus Valley. It was a cornerstone of the civilization's economy and identity. Archaeologists have found thousands of beads, some so tiny they defy belief, others long and tubular, worn as belts or headdresses. The craft demanded not just skill, but resources: stones from distant quarries, wood for fires, tools of bronze and flint. You visit the kiln, a dome of baked clay, where beads are fired to harden their glaze. The air is thick with heat, the scent of burning charcoal sharp in your throat. You stack the beads carefully, knowing the fire's whims could ruin them. When they emerge, their colors are vivid, a small miracle of heat and stone. Your work connects you to the city's rhythms. Merchants visit your workshop, their robes rustling as they inspect your beads, offering copper or grain in exchange. Some commissioned special piece is a long carnelian bead for a wedding, a string of faience for a festival. You haggle gently, your voice calm, knowing your skill gives you leverage. At times, you deliver beads to the great bath, where they're offered in rituals, perhaps to honor the river or a mother goddess. You watch as a priestess lays them on a clay altar, the beads glinting in the water's reflection, and feel a quiet connection to something larger than yourself. But the craft has its burdens. Your eyes strain from hours of close work, and your hands cramped from gripping tools. The kiln's heat leaves you dizzy, and a failed firing can waste days of effort. The city's rulers demand a share of your output, beads to adorn their homes or trade abroad, and you comply, knowing refusal could cost you your place in the guild. Yet there are moments of joy. At dusk, you sit by the workshop door, stringing beads into a necklace for your daughter. She watches, her eyes wide, and you teach her to knot the thread, her small hands clumsy but eager. The city softens around you, its sounds fading into the cool evening air. The beads of the Indus Valley were more than ornaments. They were a language of beauty and connection, linking Harappa to the world. Archaeologists marvel at their precision, some drilled with holes finer than a needle's eye, a testament to your skill. Your workshop, small and unassuming, was part of a vast network, its creations worn by people you'd never meet, in lands you'd never see. As you drift through this ancient city, imagine the beadmaker's life as a quiet symphony of stone and fire, each bead a note in the Indus Valley's enduring song. From the beadmaker's meticulous craft, we turn to one of the Indus Valley's most enduring wonders. Let us walk the steps of the great bath of Mohenjo-daro, a marvel of engineering and ritual, where water and stone wove the city's people into a shared tapestry of faith and order. As twilight casts a soft glow over the orderly streets of Mohenjo, we leave the beadmaker's workshop, where stones were shaped into treasures, and turn toward one of the Indus Valley's most remarkable creations. Imagine yourself standing before the great bath of Mohenjo-daro, a vast, rectangular pool sunk into the earth, its brick walls gleaming in the fading light. Around 2600 BCE, this structure was more than a feat of engineering. It was a heart of ritual and community, where the people of this ancient city gathered to honor the forces that sustained them, perhaps the river, perhaps the gods. Let us walk its steps, feel the coolness of its waters, and trace the rhythms of a place that wove the Indus Valley's people into a shared tapestry of faith and order. Picture yourself approaching the great bath, its presence commanding even in the bustling city. The structure is massive, some 12 meters long and 7 meters wide, its walls rising like a fortress from a raised platform. The bricks, uniform and tightly fitted, are sealed with bitumen, a black, tarry substance that ensures no water escapes. The air is warm, carrying the faint, mineral scent of damp stone and the earthy temps of the nearby Indus River, whose floods feed the city's wells. You stand at the edge, your bare feet touching the smooth, sun-warmed steps that lead down to the water. The surface of the pool ripples gently, reflecting the sky's deepening hues, and a quiet reverence settles over you, as if the bath itself holds the city's secrets. The Great Bath is unlike anything else in Mohenjo. Its scale and craftsmanship set it apart from the homes and workshops that surround it, suggesting a purpose beyond mere bathing. Imagine yourself descending the steps, each one worn slightly by countless feet, the stone cool against your soles. The water is shallow, no deeper than your waist, and surprisingly clear, fed by a well or channel you cannot see. You wade in, the coolness enveloping your legs, and feel the weight of the day's heat, its labor begin to lift. Around you, others move slowly, their movements deliberate, as if partaking in a ritual. A woman sprinkles water over her head, her cotton robe clinging to her shoulders. A man murmurs softly, his words lost in the air. The scene is calm, almost hypnotic, a moment of connection in a city of constant motion. The bath's construction was a marvel, a testament to the Indus people's mastery of water. Picture the laborers who built it, long before your time, hauling bricks under the same relentless sun you know so well. They laid each one with precision, coating the walls with gypsum plaster to smooth them, then sealing them with bitumen hauled from distant sources. Engineers, their faces lined with concentration, designed channels to fill and drain the pool, ensuring its water remained clean. You've heard stories of their work, passed down through the city's artisans, how they measured the steps with knotted cords, how they tested the walls for leaks. The bath was not built for one, but for many, a shared space where the city's people could gather, their differences softened by the water's embrace. But what was its purpose? Archaeologists, sifting through Mohenjo-daro's ruins, call it a place of ritual, perhaps a site for purification before offerings to gods or spirits. Imagine yourself as a participant in such a ceremony, standing by the bath's edge as a priestess approaches, her robe adorned with carnelian beads that glint in the torchlight. She carries a clay figurine, a mother goddess with wide, painted eyes, and places it on a small altar by the water. The crowd watches, their voices hushed, as she pours a libation of milk into the pool, its white tendrils swirling in the clear water. Incense burns nearby, its smoky sweetness curling through the air, and a low chant rises, a melody that seems to echo the river's flow. You join in, your voice soft, feeling part of something vast, a cycle of renewal, tying the city to the land, the water, the sky. The bath was not only for the elite. Unlike the grand temples of other ancient lands, it welcomed many merchants, artisans, perhaps even laborers, if only on certain days. Picture a festival, held when the monsoon rains begin, when the city gathers to give thanks for the river's bounty. The steps are crowded, but orderly, as people wade into the water, their laughter mingling with the splash of feet. Children, their hair damp, toss clay beads into the pool, offerings to ensure the rains continue. You stand among them, your own offering a single agate bead, polished by your cousin's hands, slipping from your fingers into the water. The moment is fleeting, but it binds you to the city, to the people who share this place, their lives as intertwined as the bath's brick. Yet the bath was not without its challenges. Maintaining it was a constant task. Imagine the workers, not unlike the laborers we met, who swept silt from the pool's floor, their brooms of bundled reeds scraping against the stone. Others repaired cracks, smearing fresh bitumen to seal leaks, their hands stained black. The water, so vital to the bath's purpose, was a gift and a threat. A heavy flood could clog the channels, a drought could dry the wells. You've seen the overseers, stern men with clay tablets, inspecting the bath's walls, their tallies ensuring no task was neglected. The bath's endurance, like the city's, rested on the unseen labor of many, a quiet rhythm that echoed through Mohenjo-daro's streets. The great bath's significance extended beyond its walls. It was a symbol of the Indus Valley's obsession with water, its control, its purity, its power. Every home, even the humblest, had access to wells or drains, a network that kept the city clean. But the bath was different, a communal heart where water became more than sustenance. It was a bridge to the divine. Some scholars believe it mirrored the sacred tanks of later Indian traditions, where bathing cleansed both body and soul. Others see it as a civic space, where the city's people affirmed their unity. You might stand by its edge, watching the water's surface still, and wonder, was it a temple, a gathering place, or both? The answer, like so much of the Indus world, lies just beyond our grasp. As evening deepens, the bath grows quiet. The crowds depart, their footsteps fading into the city's hum. You linger, the water lapping softly against the steps, the stars beginning to prick the sky. The air is cooler now, carrying the faint scent of wet stone and blooming jasmine from a nearby courtyard. The great bath, empty but for its reflections, feels alive, a silent witness to the lives that touched its waters. It was a place of renewal, of order, of connection, a monument to a people who saw in water the essence of their world. As you drift through this ancient city, let the bather's calm settle over you, its stillness a gentle invitation to rest. From the sacred waters of the great bath, we turn to the vibrant pulse of trade that sustained my. Let us journey to the dockyard of Lothal, where ships loaded with goods sailed the rivers and seas, carrying the Indus Valley's wealth to distant shores and a delicate dance of risk and reward. As the first light of dawn breaks over the horizon, casting a silver sheen on the waters near the Indus Valley, we leave the sacred stillness of Mohenjo-daro's great bath and journey southward to a coastal town where the pulse of trade beat strongest. Around 2600 BCE, Lothal's dockyard was a marvel of the ancient world, a bustling hub where ships loaded with cotton, beads, and copper sailed rivers and seas, carrying the Indus Valley's wealth to distant shores. Imagine yourself standing on its stone-lined quay, the air alive with the scents of salt and tar as you navigate the delicate dance of trader world of risk-reward and connection. Let us wander through the docks, the markets, and the lives tied to this vital artery of the Indus civilization, tracing the rhythms that sustained its prosperity. Picture yourself at the edge of Lothal's dockyard, a massive, rectangular basin carved into the earth, its brick walls as precise as those of Herapus streets. The dock is vast, some 200 meters long, its stone steps leading down to water that ripples with the tide. The air is warm, heavy with the briny tang of the nearby Gulf of Kumhat, mingled with the sharp scent of pitch used to seal the boats. Wooden vessels, their hulls broad and sturdy, bob gently, their ropes creaking as they tug against stone. The scene is alive but orderly, a testament to the Indus people's love of structure, even in the chaos of trade. You stand on the quay, your cotton robe fluttering in the breeze, a clay tablet tucked under your arm, ready to oversee the loading of goods. You are a trader, perhaps a junior partner in a merchant's guild, tasked with managing a shipment bound for Dilmun, a distant island in the Persian Gulf. The dockyard hums with activity. Laborers haul bales of cotton, their fibers soft but heavy, stacking them on a boat's deck. Others carry clay jars filled with sesame oil, their seals pressed with symbols you recognize. You move among them, your voice calm but firm, checking each bundle against your tablet's tallies. The laborers nod, their faces lined with sweat, and you offer a word of encouragement, knowing their work is the foundation of your trade. The air carries the low rhythm of their chants, a steady cadence that keeps their movements in sync, blending with the splash of oars and the cries of gulls overhead. The dockyard's design is a marvel, a feat of engineering that sets Lothal apart. Imagine the builders who shaped it, years before your time, digging the basin to capture the river's flow and the sea's tides. They lined it with baked bricks, each one fitted so tightly that the walls hold back the water, even during monsoons. A sluice gate, its wooden panels worn smooth, controls the flow, allowing boats to enter and leave without flooding the town. You've heard stories of its construction, how engineers used knotted ropes to measure the basin, how they diverted the river to test its strength. The dock is more than a place of trade. It's a symbol of the Indus Valley's mastery over water, a lifeline that connects Lothal to the world. Your day is a delicate balance of oversight and negotiation. You climb aboard a boat, its deck warm under your feet, and inspect the cargo. The cotton bales are tightly bound, their seals intact, but a jar of oil has cracked, its contents seeping into the wood. You sigh, marking the loss on your tablet, and signal for a replacement. Nearby, a sailor mends a sail, his needle flashing in the sunlight, while another coats the hull with pitch, the air sharp with its scent. You exchange words with the captain, a weathered man whose tales of storms in foreign ports fill your evenings. He assures you the winds are favorable, but you know the sea is fickle. Monsoon gales or hidden reefs could claim the ship before it reaches Dilmun. The goods you trade are the Indus Valley's lifeblood. Cotton, spun into cloth, finer than any other, is prized in foreign markets. Beads of carnelian and faience, crafted in workshops like the one we visited, adorn distant nobles. Copper mined in far-off hills, is shaped into tools that traveled as far as Mesopotamia. In return, you receive treasures: lapis lazuli, its deep blue, a jewel in Harappa's markets; tin, vital for bronze; and shells from the Gulf, carved into ornaments. You've held these goods, their weight unfamiliar yet thrilling, and stored them in Lothar's warehouses, their mud brick walls cool even in the midday heat. Each exchange is a thread in a vast web, tying your small town to cities you'll never see. But trade is not without its tensions. In the dockyards market, a stone's throw from the water, you huggle with a trader from Dalavia, his cart piled with pottery. He demands more beads than you can spare, his voice sharp, and you'll counter with an offer of copper ingots, your tone steady to avoid a feud. The market is a cacophony of voices: merchants bartering, laborers calling for carts, children darting through the crowd, but it's a controlled chaos, governed by the city's unwritten rules. You've seen disputes flare, a trader accused of shortchanging a deal, but the elders, seated under a banyan tree, resolve them with quiet authority, their clay seals finalizing agreements. Your life as a trader brings moments of ease, rare but cherished. At midday, you retreat to a shaded stall, where a vendor offers you a meal of flatbreads and fish, the fish's flesh tender with spices. You sit on a woven mat, the breeze cooling your skin, and share stories with other traders. One speaks of a Mesopotamian city where houses float on reeds, another warns of pirates off the coast. The tales are woven with exaggeration, but they spark a quiet wonder, a sense of the world beyond Lothar's docks. You sip a clay cup of water, its surface painted with black swirls, and feel the weight of the day soften, if only for a moment. Yet the dockyard's prosperity rests on fragile foundations. The river that feeds the dock can fail, its waters dwindling in a weak monsoon, stranding boats in mud. Storms at sea can swallow entire shipments, leaving you to face angry merchants. The city's rulers demand tribute: grain, cloth, or beads for the upkeep of the dock and its channels, and you deliver it with a bow, knowing your trade depends on their favor. At home, you pray for safe voyages, placing a small shell on a clay altar, its surface etched with a fish. The scent of burning herbs fills your courtyard, and you hope the gods or the river will listen. The dockyard of Restful was more than a place of trade. It was a gateway, a point where the Indus Valley reached out to the world. Archaeologists marveled at its scale, its bricks still standing after millennia, and at the beads and seals found in Fireplace, proof of its reach. Your work, overseeing the loading of boats, was a small but vital part of that legacy, a rhythm that echoed through the ages. As you stand on the quay, watching a ship sail toward the horizon, its sails catching the last light, you feel the weight of connection: a city, a civilization, a world bound by the steady flow of goods. From the vibrant docks of we turn to a quieter, more poetic thread of the Indus Valley's story. Let us explore the myth of the dancing girl, a small bronze statue that captures the spirit of this civilization, whispering of artistry, identity, and the lives that shaped its culture. As the stars begin to prick the twilight sky over Mahane, casting a silver glow on its orderly streets, we leave the bustling dockyard of Lothal and turn to a quieter, more poetic thread in the tapestry of the Indus Valley. Imagine yourself seated in a courtyard, the air cool and fragrant with the scent of jasmine. As the city settles into the stillness of night, before you, in the flickering light of a clay lamp, stands a small bronze statue, no taller than your hand. She is the dancing girl, a figure unearthed from Mohenjo-daro's ruins, her poised stance and confident gaze capturing the spirit of this ancient civilization. Around 2600 BCE, she was more than art. She was a symbol, perhaps of divinity, beauty, or the pulse of a culture we barely understand. Let us linger with her story, tracing the myths she inspired and the lives that shaped her as we drift through the rhythms of an enigmatic world. Picture yourself in a modest home, its mud brick walls smoothed with plaster, its flat roof open to the night sky. You sit on a woven mat, surrounded by a small gathering family, neighbors, perhaps a traveling trader who has joined for the evening. The air is warm but easing, the day's heat fading into a gentle coolness. A fire burns low in a clay hearth, its embers casting a soft glow across the courtyard. Someone passes a bowl of roasted chickpeas, their nutty aroma mingling with the faint sweetness of dates shared among the group. A woman, her voice soft but clear, begins to tell a story, one you've heard before, but never tire of a tale of a girl who danced for the gods, her movements weaving the river's flow into the city's heart. The dancing girl, she says, was her echo, cast in bronze to hold her spirit forever. The statue itself is a marvel, small but striking. Imagine holding it, its surface cool and smooth, worn by time but still vivid. The girl stands with one hand on her hip, her head tilted slightly, her bangles stacked high on one arm. Her pose is casual yet deliberate, as if caught mid-step in a dance or ritual. Her hair is gathered in a braid, and her eyes, though mere slits in the bronze, seem to gaze forward with quiet confidence. The craftsmanship is exquisite, teeny details etched with tools finer than a needle, the metal poured and cooled in a mold by artisans whose skill rivaled any in the ancient world. You turn the statue in your hands, its weight grounding you, and wonder, who was she meant to represent? A goddess, a performer, or an ideal of the women who walked these streets? The story, as told in the courtyard, weaves myth with memory. The woman speaking describes a time when the city gathered by the great bath, its waters reflecting torchlight to honor the mother goddess. A dancer, chosen for her grace, moved through the crowd, her steps slow and deliberate, her bangles jingling like the river's song. She wore a robe of cotton, dyed red with madder, and her hair was adorned with beads of carnelian, glinting as she turned. The people watched, their voices hushed, believing a dance ensured the rains would come, the fields would grow, the city would endure. The dancing girl, the storyteller says, was crafted to capture that moment, a bronze memory of a ritual that bound the people to their land. You listen, the fires crackle blending with her words, and feel the stories settle over you like a familiar lullaby. But the dancing girl is more than myth. She's a window into the Indus Valley's culture. Archaeologists, studying her form, marvel at the skill that shaped her. The bronze was cast using the lost wax method, a process where wax is molded, coated in clay, and replaced with molten metal. Imagine the artisan who made her, working in a workshop filled with the sharp scent of melting bronze and the heat of a small furnace. He sculpted the wax with delicate tools, his fingers steady, knowing a single flaw could ruin the piece. The clay mold, once fired, was buried in sand to cool, and when broken open, revealed the girl, her pose perfect, her spirit captured. The process was slow, almost sacred, a craft that demanded patience and precision, much like the bead-making we explored. The dancing girl's meaning is a matter of speculation, her story shaped by the imaginations of those who study her. Some see her as a deity, perhaps an early form of the mother goddess, whose terracotta figurines fill Indus homes. Others believe she was a dancer, a figure of celebration in festivals by the river, her bangles echoing the music of flutes and drums. Still others see her as a portrait of the women of Mohenjo-Daro, confident, skilled, integral to the city's life. Imagine the women who might have inspired her: weavers spinning cotton into cloth, potters shaping clay into vessels, mothers teaching their daughters to knot beads. They walk the same streets you do, their laughter and labor weaving the city's fabric, their presence as vital as the river itself. Her discovery, millennia later, sparked wonder. Unearthed in 1926, the dancing girl was one of the first treasures to reveal the Indus Valley's artistry. You might picture the archaeologist, his hands dusty from digging, lifting her from the earth, her bronze gleaming despite centuries of burial. She was found in a modest house, not a palace, suggesting she was cherished by ordinary people, not just elites. Her survival as a miracle bronze was often melted down, yet she endured, her pose unchanged. Scholars have compared her to later Indian art, seeing echoes of her confidence in the sculptures of classical temples, a thread connecting the Indus to the cultures that followed. In the courtyard, the storyteller's voice softens, her tale nearing its end. She describes the dancer's final performance under a full moon, when the city faced drought. The girl danced until dawn, her steps a prayer for rain, and when the clouds broke, the people wept, believing her spirit had saved them. The statue, the storyteller says, was made to honor her, placed in a home where its light could inspire. You look at the dancing girl, her bronze catching the fire's glow, and feel a quiet connection to that moment, real or imagined. The story is not history, but it carries the weight of a people's hopes, their belief in beauty and balance. The Indus Valley left few narratives, no epics carved in stone, but the dancing girl is a story in herself. She speaks of a civilization that valued art, that saw in a small figure the power to reflect their world. Imagine her in a festival, placed on a clay altar by the river, surrounded by offerings of beads and flowers. The water flows nearby, its murmur a constant companion, and the people gather, their voices low, honoring the forces that shaped their lives. The dancing girl, small but enduring, was part of that rhythm, a symbol of a culture that danced between order and mystery. As the courtyard grows quiet, the fire's embers fading you set the statue down, its weight a gentle anchor. The night air is cool, carrying the scent of earth and distant water, and the city hums softly beyond the walls. The dancing girl, whether goddess, dancer, or ideal, is a whisper from the past. Her story, a lullaby for a civilization lost to time. As you drift through this ancient world, let her poised grace settle over you, a reminder that even in silence, beauty endures. Background sounds fade gently, the strum of the instruments softening into the rustle of leaves. The narrator pauses briefly before transitioning. From the poetic myth of the dancing girl, we turn to the lives of the women who may have inspired her. Let us explore the roles of women in Indus society, from weavers to priestesses, whose quiet strength wove the fabric of this civilization, shaping its homes, markets, and rituals. As the morning sun rises over bathing its mud-brick streets in a soft, golden light, we leave the poetic myth of the dancing girl and turn to the real women who may have inspired her. Around 2600 BC, the women of the Indus Valley were the quiet strength of this civilization, their hands weaving the fabric of homes, markets, and rituals. From weavers spinning cotton in shaded courtyards, to priestesses offering prayers by the great bath, their lives were as vital as the river that sustained the city. Imagine yourself in their world, walking alongside them through the rhythms of daily life, where their labor, skill, and presence shaped the heart of the Indus society. Let us linger in their homes, their workshops, and their sacred spaces, tracing the threads of their stories in a civilization that valued balance and order. Picture yourself in a modest home, its walls of sun-baked bricks smoothed with a thin layer of plaster, its flat roof offering shade from the growing heat. The air inside is cool, carrying the faint scent of spun cotton and the earthy tang of clay pots stacked in a corner. You are a woman of Mohenjo-daro, perhaps a weaver, one of many whose work clothes the city and fuels its trade. You rise early, your reed mat still warm from sleep, and kneel by a small hearth to prepare breakfast. The fire crackles softly, its smoke curling upward as you boil barley and lentils into a thick porridge, seasoned with a pinch of dried herbs. You share the meal with your family's children, perhaps a husband or siblings, and a woven mat, the clay bowls simple but painted with delicate black swirls. The act is routine, yet it grounds you, a quiet rhythm that begins your day. Your work as a weaver is both art and necessity. In the courtyard, under a canopy of woven palm fronds, you sit at a wooden loom, its frame worn smooth by years of use. The air hums with the soft thunk of the shuttle as you pass it through the warp, your fingers deft and practiced. The cotton thread, fine and strong, comes from fields you've never seen, brought to the city by traders like the merchant we met. You weave it into cloth, its texture soft against your skin, dyed with madder or indigo to create patterns of red and blue. The work is steady, almost meditative, the loom's rhythm blending with the distant sounds of the city children laughing, carts creaking, water splashing from a nearby well. Your cloth will dress a family, adorn a ritual, or travel to Mesopotamia, a small piece of Mohenjo-daro carried across the seas. But your life is not confined to the loom. Women in the Indus Valley filled many roles, their contributions woven into every corner of society. Imagine yourself as a potter, shaping clay on a wheel in a workshop near the market. The clay is cool and slick under your hands, yielding to your touch as you form a wide-mouthed jar, its surface soon to be painted with geometric designs. Or perhaps you're a bead stringer, knotting carnelian and faience into necklaces that gleam in the sunlight, your eyes sharp despite hours of close work. These tasks, though demanding, bring a quiet pride, for your creations are traded in Lotho's dockyard, worn by merchants, or offered at the Great Bath, their beauty a reflection of your skill. Some women held roles of spiritual significance. Picture yourself as a priestess, a figure respected in the city's rituals. Though not cloistered like the elites of other lands, you walk through the Great Bath at dawn, your cotton robe adorned with beads that clinked softly with each step. In your hands, You carry a terracotta figurine, a mother goddess with wide, painted eyes, her form familiar from countless homes. The air by the bath is cool, the water's surface still, and you place the figurine on a clay altar, sprinkling it with water from a small jar. A small crowd gathers, their voices low, as you lead a chant, its melody simple but resonant, a prayer for the river's bounty or the health of the city. The role is not one of power, but of connection, tying the people to the unseen forces that shape their lives. The lives of Indus women were not without challenges. The city's order, so admired by archaeologists, came with expectations. You manage a household, ensuring the well is drawn, the grain is ground, the children are fed. The monsoon, when it comes, turns your courtyard to mud, and you sweep it clean, your arms aching but your resolve firm. Illness, a constant threat, weighs heavily. A fever could claim a child, and healers, with their herbs and chants, are not always near. Yet you adapt, sharing remedies with neighbors, a paste of turmeric for cuts, a tea of mint for aches, your knowledge passed down through generations, a quiet strength that binds the community. There are moments of joy, small but cherished. At midday, you join other women by the well, its stone rim worn smooth by countless hands. The water is cool, and you'll fill your jar, laughing as a friend shares a story of her son's mischief. The well is a gathering place, a pause in the day's labor, where gossip and wisdom flow as freely as the water. In the evening, you sit with your daughter, teaching her to spin cotton, her small hands clumsy but eager. You hum a tune, its notes soft and winding, and the courtyard fills with the scent of blooming jasmine, a reminder that even in toil, there is beauty. Archaeological clues suggest women held a degree of autonomy in Indus society. The dancing girl, with her confident pose, may reflect their status. Seals depicting women in ritual roles hint at their spiritual influence. Terracotta figurines, found in nearly every home, show mothers or goddesses, their forms crafted by women's hands, suggesting a culture that revered the feminine. Unlike in some ancient societies, there are no signs of rigid seclusion. Women moved through markets, worked in workshops, and joined festivals by the river. Imagine a market day where you sell your cloth, your voice steady as you haggle with a trader, your earnings tucked into a clay pot for safekeeping. Your contribution, though unrecorded, was the city's heartbeat. The lives of Indus women varied by status. A merchant's wife might oversee a larger home, her courtyard adorned with a small fountain, her robes finer than yours. A laborer's wife, like the one we met, might toil in the fields, her hands rough from harvesting, yet all shared the city's rhythms, its wells, its rituals, its dependence on the river. You've seen the elite women, their bangles stacked high, passing by the great bath, and felt a quiet kinship, knowing your work sustains the same city they inhabit. The Indus Valley, for all its order, was a place where women's labor seen and unseen wove the threads of community, trade, and faith. As night falls, you sit in your courtyard, the air now cool, the stars bright above. You light a clay lamp, its flame steady, and watch its light dance across the walls. Your daughter sleeps nearby, her breath soft, and you feel the weight of the day lift. The women of Mohenjo-daro, whether weavers, potters, or priestesses, were the city's quiet strength, their lives a testament to endurance and skill. As you drift through this ancient world, let their presence settle over you, a gentle reminder of the hands that shaped a civilization, their legacy enduring in the dust of time. From the vital roles of Indus women, we turn to a quieter aspect of the civilization's story, one of peace or its absence. Let us explore the enigma of the Indus Valley's lack of warfare, a society that built no fortresses, forged no swords, yet thrived in a world where conflict was common, offering a glimpse into a unique way of life. As the evening light softens over the broad plains of the Indus Valley, painting the mud-brick walls of Harappa in hues of amber, we step away from the vibrant lives of its women and turn to a quieter, more enigmatic thread in this civilization's story. Around 2600 BCE, the Indus Valley stood apart from the ancient world, not for its battles or conquests, but for their absence. Unlike the warring kingdoms of Mesopotamia or Egypt, the cities of Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, and Lothal show no signs of fortresses, weapons, or the scars of conflict. This is the story of the battle that never was, a society that thrived in peace, or at least in the illusion of it. offering a glimpse into a way of life shaped by order and cooperation rather than strife. Let us wander through the fields, streets, and mines of this ancient world, tracing the rhythms of a civilization that seemed to turn away from war. Picture yourself standing on the outskirts of Harappa, where the city's walls meet the golden expanse of barley fields. The air is warm, carrying the sweet, earthy scent of ripening grain and the faint tang of river silt. The walls, broad and sturdy, rise before you, their bricks laid with the same precision as the city's streets. But unlike the towering fortifications of other ancient lands, these walls lack battlements or guard towers. They are high, yes, but their purpose seems more to hold back floods than to repel invaders. You walk along their base, your hand brushing the smooth, sun-warmed bricks, and notice no signs of siege, no charred stones, no buried arrowheads. The city feels open, its gates unguarded, as if war is a distant thought, a story told by traders from far-off lands. Life in the Indus Valley revolves around the river and its bounty, not the clash of armies. Imagine yourself as a farmer, tending a small plot beyond the city's edge. You rise at dawn, your wooden plow slung over your shoulder, its blade worn from years of turning soil. The earth is rich, fed by the Indus's annual floods, and you guide the plow through the soft ground. The rhythm of your steps steady and your neighbors work nearby, their voices low as they share water from a clay jug, its surface cool with condensation. There are no war cries here, no drills of soldiers, only the quiet hum of labor planting, harvesting, storing grain in the city's granary. The tools you use, of wood and copper, are for farming, not fighting. The knives in your home cut rope or cloth, not flesh. This absence of warfare is striking, a puzzle that archaeologists have pondered for decades. In other ancient societies, cities were armed, their rulers depicted with swords or chariots, their walls breached by invaders. But in the Indus Valley, the evidence tells a different story. Excavations reveal no weapons designed for war, no bronze spears, no shields, no depictions of soldiers on seals or pottery. The few tools that could harm a copper axe, a flint knife, are small, suited for crafting or hunting, not battle. Imagine walking through Mohenjo-daro's market, where merchants trade beads and cotton, their clay seals marking goods, not territories. The disputes you overhear are about weights or prices, settled by elders with calm words, not blades. The city's order, so meticulously planned, seems to rest on agreement, not force. But was the Indus Valley truly peaceful, or have we missed the signs of conflict? Picture yourself in a small gathering at dusk, seated on a rooftop under a sky streaked with pink. The air is cool, carrying the scent of blooming tamarind, and a trader, his robe dusty from a long journey, shares tales of distant lands. He speaks of Mesopotamia, where kings build ziggurats and wage wars, their armies clashing over rivers and gold. The listeners murmur, their eyes wide, but the stories feel alien, like myths of another world. You wonder, did Harappa's people avoid war through strength, diplomacy, or isolation? Some scholars suggest the Indus Valley's wealth, its grain, cloth, and beads made trade more valuable than conquest, binding cities in a network of mutual gain. Others believe the lack of weapons reflects a culture that prized harmony, perhaps guided by shared rituals at places like the Great Bath. Yet peace does not mean ease. The Indus Valley faced threats, not from armies, but from nature. Imagine a season when the monsoon fails, the river shrinking to a trickle, the fields turning to dust. You've seen families ration their grain, their faces tight with worry, and heard whispers of hunger in distant towns. Floods, too, could devastate, sweeping away homes and fields, leaving mud in their wake. These were the battles the Indus people fought, not with swords, but with ingenuity, building walls to tame the river, digging wells to reach water, storing grain against lean years. You've helped repair a canal, your hands caked with silt, ensuring the fields stay green. The city's survival rested on cooperation, a collective effort that left little room for conflict within its walls. There are hints of tension, though subtle. Some seals show animus tigers, rhinos locked in struggle, perhaps symbols of power or protection, but they are rare, their meaning unclear. A few skeletons, found in later layers of the cities, bear marks of injury, but these are exceptions, not the rule. and may reflect accidents or personal disputes, not organized violence. Imagine a moment of unrest. A merchant accused of hoarding grain during a drought, the crowd's voices rising in the agora. You stand among them, your heart heavy, but the elders intervene, their clay tablets settling the matter with a fair division. The city's order holds, its people stepping back from chaos, as if guided by an unspoken pact. This lack of warfare shaped daily life in ways we can only imagine. Picture a festival by the river, where families gather to celebrate the harvest. The air is filled with the scent of roasted millet and the sound of reed flutes, their notes drifting over the water. Children run through the crowd, their laughter bright, unafraid of raiders or war. You join a dance, your steps slow and rhythmic, your cotton robe swaying as you move. The community feels whole, bound by shared labor and rituals, not divided by the fear of enemies. Even the city's walls, so carefully built, seem more a symbol of unity than defense, enclosing a world where cooperation was the greatest strength. Archaeologists marvel at this anomaly, a civilization that flourished for centuries without apparent conflict. Some argue the Indus Valley was too isolated, its rivers and deserts a natural shield. Others see a deliberate choice, a culture that valued stability over conquest. You might sit by the river at twilight, the water glinting with starlight, and ponder the lives spared by this peace. No fields burned, no homes razed, no families torn apart by war's shadow. Yet the cost of peace was vigilance against floods, drought, and the fragile balance of trade. The Indus people fought their battles with plows and canals, their victories measured in harvests, not blood. As night falls, you return to your home, the air now cool, the city's hum fading into silence. You light a clay lamp, its flames steady, and sit on your roof, watching the stars wheel above. The Indus Valley's peace, whether born of choice or circumstance, was a rare gift in a world often torn by strife. Its cities stood as testaments to what humanity could build when hands worked together, not against one another. As you drift through this ancient world, let the quiet of that peace settle over you, a gentle reminder of a time when the rhythm of life was one of harmony, not conflict. From the tranquil absence of war, we turn to the practical arts that sustain the Indus Valley's peace and prosperity. Let us explore the innovations of water management and medicine, where the people of Mohenjo-daro tamed rivers and healed bodies with a wisdom that echoed their love of order and balance. As the morning sun casts a golden sheen over the orderly streets of Mohenjo-daro, its light glinting off the waters of the nearby Indus River, we leave the peaceful enigma of a warless civilization and turn to the practical arts that sustained its harmony. Around 2600 BC, the people of the Indus Valley mastered the flow of water and the healing of bodies, their innovations in water management and medicine reflecting a deep respect for order and survival. From the intricate drains beneath the city to the herbal remedies shared in quiet homes, these practices were the lifeblood of their society, ensuring its health and prosperity. Imagine yourself in this ancient world, walking through its channels and courtyards, as we trace the rhythms of a people who tamed rivers and soothed ailments with wisdom and care. Picture yourself standing at the edge of Mohenjo, where a network of brick-lined drains snakes beneath the streets, their channels as precise as the city's grid. The air is warm, carrying the faint, mineral scent of water flowing through clay pipes, mingled with the earthy tanks of damp soil. You kneel by an open drain, its walls smooth and tightly fitted, marveling at the craftsmanship that keeps the city clean. The water moves steadily, carrying away the refuse of homes and workshops, its soft gurgle a constant undercurrent to the city's hum. These drains, hidden beneath your feet, are a marvel of engineering, a testament to the Indus people's obsession with water, not just as a resource, but as a force to be shaped and respected. Your day might involve maintaining these channels, a task shared by many. Imagine yourself as a worker, not unlike the laborer we met, wading into a drain with a reed broom, sweeping silt and debris into a basket. The water is cool against your legs, but the work is heavy, your arms aching as you clear blockages to keep the flow steady. The overseer, a stern figure with a clay tablet, nods as you finish, marking your contribution. You've heard stories of the drain's construction, how engineers measured slopes with knotted cords, ensuring water flowed without pooling, how laborers coated pipes with bitumen to prevent leaks. The system is vast, connecting every home to wells or drains, a network that sets Mohenjo-daro apart from other ancient cities, where filth often choked the streets. Water was more than sanitation. it was life. Step into a courtyard where a well stands, its stone rim worn smooth by countless hands. You lower a clay bucket, its rope creaking, and draw up water so clear it catches the sunlight. The act is simple, but vital. Every household, from the merchant's grand home to the laborer's hut, relies on these wells. You carry the bucket to your home, the water sloshing softly, and use it to cook, bathe, or water a small garden of herbs. The wells, dug deep to reach the river's underground flow, are a lifeline, especially in dry seasons when the Indus shrinks. You've seen families gather here, their voices low as they share news. The well a center of community as much as utility, but water's power was matched by its danger. Imagine a monsoon season, the sky heavy with clouds, the river swelling until its banks overflow. You've helped pile sandbags along the city's edge, your hands muddy, your heart heavy with the fear of floods. The walls, so carefully built, hold back the worst, but water seeps into low-lying homes, turning floors to sludge. The drains, your city's pride, strained under the deluge, and you join neighbors to clear them, ensuring the water flows out, not in. These moments, though rare, remind you of the river's dual nature: giver of life, bringer of chaos, and the constant vigilance required to live in its shadow. From water, we turn to medicine, the art of healing that kept the Indus people strong. Picture yourself in a small home, its courtyard shaded by a tamarind tree, where a woman prepares a remedy for her child's fever. The air is filled with the sharp scent of crushed herbs, turmeric, mint, perhaps near mixed into a paste with water from the well. She applies it to the child's forehead, her touch gentle, her voice humming a soft tune to soothe his restless sleep. You watch, perhaps as her neighbor, and offer a handful of dried coriander seeds, said to ease aches. These remedies, passed down through generations, are the medicine of the Indus Valley, a blend of plants, prayers, and practical knowledge. Healing was a communal act. Imagine a healer, an older woman respected for her wisdom, visiting homes with a basket of herbs and clay jars. She kneels by a man with a swollen ankle, perhaps from hauling bricks, and binds it with a cloth soaked in a bitter-smelling infusion. The air is heavy with the scent of boiled leaves, and she murmurs words of comfort, perhaps invoking the mother goddess whose figurines adorn every home. Her tools are simple mortar and pestle, strips of cotton, a copper knife for cutting herbs, but her knowledge is vast, drawn from years of watching the body's rhythms. You've seen her treat fevers, cuts, and even toothaches, using pastes or teas that ease pain without fanfare. Archaeological evidence hints at the sophistication of Indus medicine. Skeletons show few signs of untreated injuries, suggesting care was effective. Dental tools, tiny and precise, point to early dentistry. Imagine a healer cleaning a wound, her hands steady as she applies a paste of turmeric, known even then for its cleansing properties. She might burn herbs in a clay bowl, the smoke curling upward, believed to ward off unseen ailments. The city's cleanliness, with its drains and wells, was itself a form of medicine, keeping diseases at bay in a way other ancient societies could not. Yet illness was a constant. Shadow fevers spread in the wet season, and a simple injury could worsen without care. You've seen families mourn, their grief quiet but deep, when a remedy failed, a reminder of life's fragility. The connection between water and medicine was profound. The Great Bath, we learned, was a place of ritual cleansing, perhaps believed to heal the spirit as wells healed the body. Imagine a festival where the sick were brought to the bath, their bodies dipped in its waters as prayers were offered. The air is filled with the scent of incense, the chants, low and rhythmic, blending with the water's soft lap. You stand among the crowd, your own offering a small clay bead slipping into the pool, a hope for health. The Indus people saw water as a gift, a force that purified and sustained, and their medicine, like their drains, was a quiet triumph of care and ingenuity. As evening falls, you sit by a courtyard well, the air now cool, the city's hum fading into silence. You light a clay lamp, its flame casting soft shadows, and reflect on the systems that keep Mohenjo-daro alive. The drains, the wells, the herbal pastes, these were the tools of a people who valued balance, who saw health and water as intertwined gifts of the land. Their wisdom, unrecorded but enduring, shaped a civilization that thrived against the odds. As you drift through this ancient world, let the steady flow of their innovations settle over you a gentle reminder of a time when care and order were the foundation of life. From the practical arts of water and healing, we turn to a deeper mystery of the Indus Valley. Let us explore the lost cities of the Gagahak, settlements that vanished into the desert, their ruins whispering of a civilization's rise and fall, and the forces that may have undone it. As the stars begin to glimmer over the arid plains of the Indus Valley, casting a faint light on the dust that now covers its ancient cities, we leave the ingenuity of Mohenjo-Daro's water and medicine behind and turn to a haunting mystery. Around 2600 BCE, the Indus Valley civilization thrived along the banks of the Gag, a river system that once nourished countless settlements. But by 1900 BCE, these cities smaller than Harappa or Mohenjo-Daro, but no less fiddle-faded into the desert, their bricks buried under shifting sands. What caused their decline? Was it the river's betrayal, a changing climate, or something else entirely? Let us wander through the ruins of these lost cities, tracing the whispers of their rise and fall, as we drift through the rhythms of a civilization slipping into silence. Picture yourself standing on a low mound, the remnants of a forgotten town along the Gagahakra, its waters now a faint stream where once a mighty river flowed. The air is dry, carrying the sharp scent of sun-baked earth and the faint, dusty temps of crumbled brick. The ground beneath your feet is uneven, littered with shards of pottery and the occasional gleam of a broken bead, relics of lives long gone. The landscape stretches wide, a patchwork of scrub and sand, where fields once bloomed with barley and wheat. You kneel, your fingers brushing a fragment of clay, its surface etched with a faded spiral, and feel the weight of time. A city that thrived, then vanished, its story buried with its walls. Imagine life in one of these settlements, a town like Cut, smaller than Mohenjo-Daro, but built with the same precision. You live in a mud brick house, its walls cool against the midday heat, its flat roof a place to sleep under the stars. The air carries the scent of ripening grain from nearby fields, fed by the Gagahakra's steady flow. Your days are spent tending crops, hauling water from a well, or trading in a modest market where merchants offer cotton and beads. The town is orderly, its streets laid out in a grid, its drains channeling water to keep the dust at bay. You gather with neighbors at dusk, sharing flatbreads and stories. The rivers murmur, a constant companion, a lifeline that binds your community together. The Gagahakra was the heart of these settlements, its waters sustaining towns from the Himalayan foothills to the desert's edge. Archaeologists have mapped dozens of sites along its ancient course, from tiny villages to fortified outposts. Imagine walking its banks, your feet sinking into the soft, silty soil. As you watch fishermen cast nets and children splash in the shallows, the river was generous, its floods enriching the fields, its channels feeding wells and canals. You've helped dig those canals, your hands caked with mud, ensuring water reached every plot. The work was grueling, but it promised a Bunansa harvest to fill the granary, a surplus to trade with Harappa or the river was more than water. It was the pulse of your world, a gift that shaped every rhythm of life. But rivers, like civilizations, are not eternal. Picture a season when the rains falter, the sky clear and unyielding, the Gagahakra shrinking to a trickle. You stand by the riverbank, your heart heavy, as the fields turn brittle, their green fading to brown. The wells, once reliable, yield less water, and you ration it carefully, your clay bucket lighter each day. Families whisper of moving to larger cities, their voices tinged with worry. But the journey is long, and the desert unforgiving. You've seen abandoned homes, their roofs collapsed, their drains clogged with sand. The town feels quieter, as if the river's song has faded, leaving only the wind's lonely hum. Archaeologists believe the Gagahakra's decline was a slow unraveling, not a sudden catastrophe. Some call it the Sarasvati, a river named in later Indian texts, its course shifting as the climate grew drier. Imagine the gradual change: monsoons weakening, floods failing, fields shrinking year by year. You adapt, digging deeper wells, planting hardier crops like millet, but the effort is exhausting. The market, once bustling, grows sparse, traders bypassing your town for Mohenjo-Daro's abundance. You've heard rumors of distant settlements abandoned, their people scattering two rivers that still flow. The elders, seated under a banyan tree, speak of appeasing the gods, offering clay figurines at a small shrine, but the rains do not return. Other theories, whisper of different causes. Some scholars point to earthquakes, their tremors shifting the river's path, leaving towns stranded. Imagine waking to the ground shaking, the air filled with dust, as cracks spiderweb through your home's walls. You repair them, piling new bricks, but the river no longer reaches your fields, its bed now a dry scar. Others suggest trade faltered, as Mesopotamian partners turned to other routes, starving the Gagahakra towns of goods. You've seen merchants pass through less often, their donkeys carrying fewer beads, their tailies of foreign markets tinged with unease. Whatever the cause, the result was the same cities faded, their bricks reclaimed by the desert, their people lost to time. Yet life persisted, even in decline. Picture a festival in your town, one last gathering before families depart. The air is filled with the scent of roasted sesame and the sound of reed flutes, their notes soft but defiant. You join a circle, sharing a meal of flatbreads and dried fish, the fire's glow warming your face. Children dance, their laughter a fleeting echo of better years, and you offer a clay bead to a small altar, praying for the river's return. The community holds fast, its bonds stronger than the failing water, but you know some will leave, seeking new homes by the Indus or beyond. The town, once vibrant, grows quiet, its streets emptying, its walls crumbling into dust. Archaeological clues paint a poignant picture. Sites like Kalibangan show signs of gradual abandonment, houses left intact, pottery scattered, no trace of violence. The Gagahakra's bed, now dry, stretches across the desert, its path traced by satellite images, a ghost of the river it once was. Some settlements, like Dolavira, survived longer, their wells deeper, their trade sustained, but most faded by 1900 BCE might stand in the ruins today, the wind carrying sand across broken walls, and wonder, what did the last families feel, leaving their homes? Did they carry their seals, their beads, their figurines, hoping to rebuild elsewhere? The lost cities of the Gagahakra are a mystery, not of sudden destruction, but of slow erasure. They speak of a civilization dependent on its rivers, its balance fragile in the face of nature's whims. Imagine sitting by the dry riverbed, the stars bright above, the air cool against your skin. You hold a shard of pottery, its spiral pattern faint, and feel the weight of a world that slipped away. The Indus Valley's heart beats strongest in its cities, but along the Gagahakra it faltered, leaving only whispers in the sand. As you drift through this ancient world, let the quiet of those lost towns settle over you, a gentle reminder of a civilization's rise and fall, its legacy buried but not forgotten. From the silent ruins of the Gag, we turn to a moment of celebration that bound the Indus people to their land. Let us join a festival for the Mother Goddess, where offerings and chants filled the air, weaving the community into a shared rhythm of faith and hope. As the twilight deepens over the city's mud-brick walls glowing faintly under a rising moon, we leave the silent ruins of the Gagahakra and step into a moment of vibrant connection. Around 2600 BC, the people of the Indus Valley gathered to honor the forces that sustained them, their rituals weaving community and faith into a delicate tapestry. One such celebration was a festival for the Mother Goddess, a figure whose terracotta likeness adorned nearly every home. Her wide eyes and outstretched arms a symbol of fertility, protection, and abundance. Imagine yourself in this ancient city, joining the crowd by the riverbank, as chants and offerings fill the air with hope and reverence. Let us linger in this festival, tracing the rhythms of a people bound by belief, their lives softened by a shared moment of joy. Picture yourself standing near the Indus River, its waters glinting with the reflections of countless clay lamps set afloat on palm leaves. The air is cool, carrying the sweet scent of blooming jasmine and the smoky warmth of burning sandalwood. The festival has drawn the city together, laborers, merchants, artisans, their cotton robes dyed in shades of indigo and ochre, swaying gently as they move toward the river. You wear a simple tunic, its hem brushing your ankles, and a string of faience beads around your neck, their cool surfaces a gift from a friend. The crowd is orderly, yet alive with quiet anticipation, their voices blending into a low hum, punctuated by the soft notes of a flute played by a young musician seated on a stone. The festival centers on the Mother Goddess, a figure whose presence is felt in every corner of Indus life. In your home, you keep a small terracotta figurine of her, its clay smoothed by your hands, its eyes painted wide with black paste. She is not a distant deity, but a protector of fields, families, and the river's flow. Tonight, you carry a similar figurine, small enough to fit in your palm, its surface warm from your touch. You join the procession, your steps slow and deliberate, following a path lined with flickering lamps. The riverbank is crowded but calm, the air filled with the scent of roasted millet and sesame, shared among neighbors in clay bowls. You take a handful, the grains warm and nutty, and feel the community's warmth envelop you, a shared pulse in the night. The heart of the festival is a ritual by the water's edge. Imagine a priestess, her robe adorned with carnelian beads that catch the firelight, standing on a low platform of baked brick. She holds a larger figurine of the mother goddess, its arms outstretched, its body painted with red and black swirls. The crowd gathers closer, their voices falling silent as she begins a chant, its melody simple but resonant, echoing the river's flow. You join in, your voice soft, the words unfamiliar yet comforting, a prayer for rain, for health, for the fields to bloom. The priestess pours a jar of milk into the river, its white tendrils swirling in the dark water, an offering to the goddess who guards the land. The air grows heavy with the scent of incense, its curls rising like a bridge to the stars. Offerings are central to the festival, each one a gesture of hope. You step forward, clutching your figurine, and place it on a clay altar by the river, its surface crowded with beads, flowers, and small pots of grain. Others do the same. Children toss clay beads, their laughter bright but hushed. A merchant offers a polished agate, its surface gleaming. A laborer sets down a handful of wheat, his hands rough from work. The altar glows in the lamplight, a mosaic of devotion, and you feel a quiet connection, as if your offering ties you to the city, the river, the goddess herself. The act is simple, but its weight lingers, a moment of unity in a world of constant toil. The festival is not just solemn, it is a celebration of life. Imagine the crowd parting as a group of dancers, women and men, move to the center of the gathering. Their robes sway, their bangles jingling with each step, their movements slow and graceful, mirroring the river's flow. The flute's notes rise, joined by the soft beat of a clay drum, its rhythm steady like a heartbeat. You watch, your own feet tapping lightly, as the dancers weave through the crowd, their steps a prayer for abundance. Children dart among them, their faces lit with joy, and you smile, sharing a clay cup of fermented barley drink with a neighbor, its tart warmth spreading through you. The festival feels alive, a rare pause in the daily grind, a moment when the city breathes as one. Archaeological clues paint a vivid picture of these rituals. Terracotta figurines of the mother goddess, found in nearly every Indus home, suggest her worship was widespread, not confined to elite. Some figurines were headdresses or necklaces, hinting at festival adornments. Others are buried near hearths, as if guarding the household. The Great Bath, we learned, may have been a site for such rituals, its waters a place of purification before offerings. Imagine the festival spilling into its steps, the crowd wading in, their voices echoing off the brick walls. The figurines, often broken or worn, were not mere art but tools of faith, touched by hands seeking the goddess's favor for a bountiful harvest or a healthy child. The festival also reflects the Indus Valley's communal spirit. Unlike the grand temples of Mesopotamia, the Indus cities had no towering shrines, suggesting worship was intimate, rooted in homes and gatherings. Picture a family preparing for the festival, their courtyard busy as they mold clay figurines, their hands dusted with red ochre. A grandmother teaches her granddaughter to paint the goddess's eyes, her voice low and patient, passing down a tradition older than the city itself. You join them, kneading clay for a small bead, your fingers sticky, and feel the weight of generations in your hands. The festival binds the community, from laborers to merchants, in a shared act of hope. Their offerings a chorus of voices raised to the night. Yet even in celebration, the river's uncertainty looms. The festival often follows the monsoon, a time of gratitude for rains that fill the fields. But you've known years when the rains were scarce, the river low, the offerings tinged with desperation. Imagine a season when the crowd is smaller, their chants quieter, their faces lined with worry. You place your figurine on the altar, praying not just for abundance, but for survival. The priestess's voice carries a note of urgency, her hands trembling as she pours the milk. The community holds fast, their faith, a shield against fear, but the river's whims are never far from mind. As the festival ends, the crowd disperses, their lamps floating downstream, tiny sparks against the dark water. You'll linger by the riverbank, the air now cool, the scent of jasmine fading into the night. The stars are bright, their patterns unchanged, a silent witness to the city's hopes. The mother goddess, whether a deity or a symbol, was the heart of this festival. Her presence a reminder of the land's gifts and its demands. The people of Mohenjo-Daro, through their offerings and dances, wove their lives into hers, seeking balance in a world of uncertainty. As you drift through this ancient city, let the festival's gentle rhythm settle over you, a lullaby of faith and community, echoing across the ages. From the vibrant festival for the mother goddess, we turn to the shadow that fell over the Indus Valley. Let us trace the collapse of this civilization, a slow unraveling that silenced its cities and scattered its people, leaving only ruins to tell their story. As the night deepens over the once vibrant plains of the Indus Valley, the stars casting a pale light on the dust-covered ruins, we leave the joyous festival for the mother goddess and turn to the shadow that fell over this ancient civilization. Around 1900 BCE, the cities of Harappa and their smaller kin along the Gagahakra began to fade, their streets emptying, their walls crumbling into the earth. This was no sudden catastrophe, but a slow unraveling, a quiet decline driven by shifting rivers, changing climates, and faltering trade. Imagine yourself in the twilight of the Indus Valley, walking through a city losing its pulse, as we trace the rhythms of a civilization slipping into silence, its legacy buried beneath the sands of time. Picture yourself in Mohenjo-Daro, standing on a street once bustling with merchants and artisans, now eerily quiet. The air is dry, carrying the sharp scent of dust and the faint, stale temps of abandoned hearths. The mud brick houses, once neatly plastered, show cracks where the rains have ceased to soften the earth. You step carefully, your feet stirring small clouds of sand, and notice a broken pot, its black swirls faded, lying beside a doorway. The city feels heavy, as if it knows its time is waning. The great bath, once alive with chants, stands empty, its water reduced to a shallow puddle, its steps littered with dry leaves. The river, the Indus itself, flows weaker now, its banks receding, leaving fields parched and brittle under a relentless sun. You are a resident of this fading city, perhaps a farmer or a weaver, your life tied to the rhythms that once sustained Your mornings begin, as they always have, with a simple meal of barley porridge, but the grain is scarce, the granary's stores dwindling. You walk to your small plot, its soil cracked and dusty, and try to coax a crop from the earth, your wooden plough scraping against unyielding ground. The air is thick with the scent of dry straw, and your hands tremble as you pour the last of your water from a clay jug, its contents barely enough to wet the roots. The wells, once reliable, yield less each day, and you've seen neighbors pack their belongings, clay pots, cotton robes, a cherished figurine, and leave for distant lands, their footsteps fading into the desert. The collapse of the Indus Valley was not marked by fire or conquest, but by a gradual erosion of its foundations. Archaeologists point to the Gagahakra, the river we explored, as a key to the decline. Once a mighty waterway, it began to dry, its course shifting as the monsoon rains weakened. Imagine standing by its banks, now a shallow stream, the water barely reaching your ankles. You've heard elders speak of a time when the river flooded generously, feeding fields and filling wells. Now, the fields are shrinking, and you ration grain, sharing meager portions with your family under a tamarind tree, its leaves sparse from drought. The air carries the faint bitterness of dust, and the city's hum, once vibrant, grows faint, replaced by the wind's lonely sigh. Other forces compounded the river's betrayal. Picture a season of unrelenting heat, the sun scorching the earth, the air shimmering with haze. You've helped repair canals, your hands blistered from digging, but the water no longer flows as it once did. Some scholars suggest earthquakes, subtle but disruptive, shifted the Indus's tributaries, starving cities like Cali. You felt tremors, the ground quivering beneath your home, cracking its walls and unsettling the drains. The repairs are endless, and the city's resources, grain, timber, labor, grows scarce. You've seen workshops close, their kilns cold, their artisans moving to larger cities or beyond, seeking rivers that still run. Trade, the lifeblood of the Indus Valley, faltered as well. Imagine a market once crowded with merchants from Lothal and Harappa, now half empty, its stalls sparse. You walk past a trader, his cart laden with fewer beads than before, his face lined with worry. The caravans to Mesopotamia, once laden with cotton and carnelian, return with less lapis, lazuli as rare, tin scarcer still. The seals, with their cryptic symbols, are used less often as trade routes shift to other lands. You've heard stories of Dilmun, the island hub, turning to new partners, and you feel the weight of isolation, as if the world beyond the Indus is drifting away. Your own clay seal, bearing a unicorn, lies unused in your home, a relic of better days. The decline was not uniform. Some cities, like Dalavira, clung to life longer, their deeper wells and coastal trade sustaining them. But for most, the end came quietly. Picture a family packing their belongings, their cart creaking under the weight of pots and cloths. You help them, tying a bundle with rope, your hands steady despite the ache in your chest. They speak of moving south, to lands where rivers still flow, but the journey is uncertain, the desert unforgiving. You offer a small figurine of the mother goddess, its clay warm from your hands, as a token of hope. The family nods, their eyes heavy, and their cart fades into the dust, leaving your street emptier still. Archaeological evidence tells a story of gradual abandonment. In Mohenjo-daro's later layers, houses are smaller, built with recycled bricks, as if resources were scarce. Pottery becomes simpler, its patterns less intricate, and seals are fewer, their symbols fading from use. Some sites show signs of overcrowding, as people from smaller towns sought refuge in larger cities. Imagine the strain wells, overused, drains clogged, markets thin, yet there is no evidence of violence, no burned walls or shattered skulls, only the slow retreat of a people who could no longer stay. The absence of conquest is striking, a testament to the peace we explored, but it could not save the cities from nature's slow betrayal. Life persisted, even in decline. Picture a final festival by the river, its waters low but still flowing. The crowd is smaller, their lamps fewer, but they gather nonetheless, offering clay beads and whispered prayers. You stand among them, the air cool, the scent of burning herbs faint but comforting. A flute plays, its notes soft and halting, and you hold your family close, their warmth a shield against the uncertainty. The city is fading, but its spirit lingers in the hands that shaped its bricks, the seals that marked its trade, the figurines that carried its faith. You'll leave an offering a single carnelian bead, its glow dim in the moonlight and turn homeward, the stars above a silent witness to a world slipping away. The collapse of the Indus Valley left its cities as ghosts, their ruins buried under centuries of sand. Some scholars believe the people dispersed, carrying their skills to new lands, their legacy woven into later Indian cultures. Others see a complete break, the civilization's order dissolving into fragments. You might stand in Mohenjo-daro today, its bricks exposed to the sky, and feel the weight of that lossless civilization that built wonders, yet could not outlast its rivers. As you drift through this ancient world, let the quiet of its decline settle over you, a gentle reminder of a people who thrived, then faded, their story whispering in the dust. From the slow unraveling of the Indus Valley, we turn to the enduring threads that survived its fall. Let us reflect on the legacy of this civilization, its innovations and traditions echoing in the modern world, tying the ancient plains to the present in a gentle, timeless embrace. As the night settles over the plains where the Indus Valley once thrived, the stars casting a timeless glow over lands now changed, we leave the quiet decline of its cities and turn to the enduring legacy of this ancient civilization. Around 1900 BCE, the cities of Harappa, Mohenjo-daro, and their kin faded, their bricks buried beneath the dust. Yet their innovations, traditions, and spirit did not vanish entirely. They wove themselves into the fabric of South Asia, echoing in the villages, cities, and cultures of modern India and Pakistan. Imagine yourself standing on these same plains today, the air carrying the scent of earth and memory, as we trace the threads that tie the Indus Valley to our world, a gentle bridge between the ancient and the present, lulling you toward rest. Picture yourself in a modern village near the Indus River, its waters flowing as they did millennia ago, though softer now, tamed by time and human hands. The air is warm, filled with the earthy scent of ploughed fields and the faint sweetness of blooming mango trees. You walk through a market, its stalls piled with cotton cloth, its fibers as fine as those woven in Mohenjo-Daro's courtyards. A woman, her hands dusted with red ochre, molds a clay pot, its shape echoing the vessels of the Indus artisans. Nearby, a child plays with a terracotta toy, its form not unlike the figurines of the mother goddess, though now it's a simple plaything, not a sacred offering. The scene feels familiar, as if the rhythms of the Indus Valley linger in the pulse of this land, their legacy woven into daily life. The Indus Valley's innovations were its greatest gift to the future. Consider the cities themselves, with their planned streets and intricate drains, a marvel of urban design. You might wander the ruins of Mohenjo-Daro today, its bricks exposed to the sky, and see the blueprint of modern South Asian towns, where streets still follow grids and wells-dot courtyards. The Indus people's love of order, their careful measurement of space, echoes in the planned cities of India and Pakistan, from Chandigarh's modern grid to the ancient layouts of Imagine an architect, centuries later, pacing a field with a knotted cord, unknowingly mimicking the engineers who built Harappa's walls, their methods passed down through generations, a silent inheritance. Their mastery of water, so vital to their survival, left a lasting mark. Picture a farmer in Punjab today, guiding water through a canal to his fields, the channel's bricks laid with care, much like the drains of Mohenjo. The Indus people's canals and wells, designed to tame floods and droughts, are mirrored in South Asia's irrigation systems, which sustain millions. You've seen villagers gather by a well, their clay jars filled with water, their laughter echoing the gatherings of Indus women we met. The reverence for water, seen in the great bathist rituals, persists in the sacred tanks of Hindu temples, where pilgrims bathe to purify their souls. The act a quiet nod to an ancient tradition. Trade, too, carries the Indus legacy. Imagine a market in modern Karachi, its stalls vibrant with cotton textiles and beads of agate and fion, their colors as vivid as those traded in Lothal's deep. The Indus Valley's merchants, whose seals marked goods bound for Mesopotamia, set a pattern for South Asia's trade networks. You might hold a modern bead, its surface polished to a gleam, and feel a connection to the artisans who drilled carnelian in Harappa's workshops. The weights they used, standardized cubes of chert, are ancestors to the measures still used in rural markets, where traders balanced scales with the same precision. The Indus Valley's reach, stretching to distant lands, foreshadowed the Silk Road and maritime routes that would later define the region's commerce. The mother goddess, so central to Indus rituals, lingers in the spiritual life of South Asia. Picture a temple in a modern village, its altar adorned with a statue of a goddess Durga perhaps, or Lakshmi, her arms outstretched, her eyes wide, not unlike the terracotta figurines of Moh. You stand among worshippers, the air heavy with incense, and watch as they offer flowers and rice, their chants echoing the festivals we explored. The mother goddess, whether deity or symbol, evolved into the pantheon of Hindu goddesses, her presence a thread linking the Indus to India's spiritual traditions. Even the act of offering, seen in clay beads and figurines, persists in the small tokens left at shrines, a gesture of faith unchanged by time. The Indus people themselves, though their cities faded, did not vanish. Imagine their descendants, scattering south or east as the rivers dried, carrying their skills and stories. You might picture a family, their cart laden with pots and cloth, settling by a new river, teaching their children to weave or mold clay. Their language, perhaps a Dravidian tongue hinted at by the undeciphered script, may echo in the languages of southern India, like Tamil or Telugu. Their art, the dancing girl's confident pose, the seal's intricate animals, finds echoes in later Indian sculpture, from the graceful figures of Mauryan art to the vibrant carvings of Alok. The Indus Valley's people, though nameless, seeded the cultures that followed, their legacy a quiet undercurrent in South Asia's history. Even the absence of warfare, so striking in the Indus Valley, left its mark. Picture a modern village council, elders seated under a banyan tree, resolving disputes with calm words, much like the Indus mediators who settled market quarrels without blades. The region's traditions of community and cooperation, seen in festivals and shared labor, carry a faint echo of the Indus city's harmony. You've seen neighbors in a modern town work together to repair a canal, their hands muddy but united, a scene not unlike the laborers who maintained Mohenjo-Daro's drains. The Indus Valley's peace, whether born of choice or circumstance, shaped a cultural memory of balance, a legacy that softens the region's history. As you stand in this modern village, the air cool under a starlit sky, you feel the weight of the Indus Valley's legacy. The market hums softly, its voice is a distant echo of Herapus. A woman lights a clay lamp, its flame steady, like those that lit Mohenjo-Daro's nights. The river flows nearby, its waters a reminder of the lifeline that sustained a civilization. The Indus Valley's innovations, its cities, its trade, its reverence for water and faith did not die with its cities. They wove themselves into the land, the people, the traditions that endure today. You might hold a cotton shawl, its threads fine and familiar, and sense the hands that spun it millennia ago, their skill a gift to the present. The Indus Valley's story is one of quiet endurance, its echoes soft but persistent. As you wander this modern plain, the stars above unchanged since the days of Harappa, you feel a connection to those ancient lives, laborers, merchants, artisans, women, all bound by the rhythm of their world. Their cities may lie in ruins, but their legacy flows on, like the river itself, carrying their wisdom into our time. As you drift through this ancient and modern world, let the gentle threads of their legacy settle over you, a soothing reminder that even in silence, a civilization's heart continues to beat. As we linger on the echoes of the Indus Valley, let us draw our journey to a close, reflecting on the lives and legacies that shaped this ancient world, and the comfort of our own time as we prepare to drift toward rest. And so, we come to the end of our journey through the Indus Valley, a world of sun-baked bricks, flowing rivers, and quiet resilience. Some 4,000 years distant, we've walked the dusty streets of Harappa, toiled as laborers under an unforgiving sun, stood in the shadow of the Presking, and pondered the cryptoseals that hold their secrets still. We've traded in Lothal's dockyard, crafted beads in Mohenjo-Daro's workshops, and joined the sacred rhythms of the Great Bath. We've danced with the Mother Goddess, mourned the lost cities of the Gargahakra, and traced the echoes of this civilization in the modern world. Each story, each life, was a thread in a tapestry woven with care, order, and a deep connection to the land. As you lie in the comfort of your own time, far from the heat and toil of the Indus plains, let the weight of those ancient lives settle gently over you. Their struggles, their endless labor, the faltering rivers, the quiet hope of their rituals are distant now, soft by time. Their innovations, their artistry, their peace live on, not in grand monuments, but in the small, enduring threads that shape South Asia to the weave of a cotton shawl, the flow of a canal, the flicker of a lamp in a village shrine. The Indus Valley, though silent, speaks to us still, its legacy a lullaby carried on the wind. Close your eyes, if you haven't already, and let the rhythm of this ancient world fade into the stillness of your own. The river flows on, its waters a gentle whisper, carrying you toward rest. Sleep well, knowing the past is with you, its stories a soft embrace as you drift into dreams.